Hey YouTube, what's up? This is Taz Olsen here, and I'm gonna show you how to use Sony Vegas Pro 9, or 10, or 8, or 7, or whichever version you happen to have. But I recommend getting 9, or 10, or 8, or 7, because they're all good. 7 is exactly the same as 8, though, except for compatibility, so there's no real difference between those two. Anyway, let's get into this. This is Sony Vegas. This is pretty dang close to the original setup. The only way we changed it is when you hit Properties. This is what the first thing you should do when you open up Sony Vegas. You want to change all these settings. Template, you want to have a 16:9 if you're making videos for YouTube, because 16:9 is the standard setup for the YouTube screen. So, if you've ever wondered when you're exporting out of stupid Windows Movie Maker and you realize, I'm not filling the entire screen on YouTube, I want to be able to do that. Well, now you can, because now you have 16:9 with HDV 720 30p. That's 1280 by 720, 30 frames per second, with 30 frames per second is a very good rate. Then you have 1080 by 60i. It's again 30 frames per second. HDV, pretty stinking good. If you have HD 60i or 30i, you can use those too. It supports everything pretty much. 2K, 4K for super good cameras. Most cameras will not have this. Most cameras you will not even have that have 1080p. But if you have one, definitely go for those. Most of you people, if you don't know how to use Sony Vegas, you'll probably be using at the very most a 720p. So go with this one. HDV 720 30p. This does pretty much everything you need it to do. It's got good quality. So, next, pixel aspect ratio. Set this at 1 unless you were using HD 60i. The HDV 60i, which has 1.3 repeating decimal. You know what repeating decimal means? It means it goes forever. So yes, this 3 number can just keep going. Anyway, but we're going to use square with 720p. Also, you want to set this full resolution render quality to good, unless of course you're using 1080p, because then you want to set it to best, because then it can capture the best quality. Unless you have 1080p camera, you're not going to have that quality to set, so it's not going to matter. Then you want to start all new projects with these settings. This way, it's going to affect every project, so you don't have to keep doing this. Instantly, I just save you about 20 seconds on every single project you do in the future. Now, it's going to... Before, this section looked like it was a 4x3 box. Now it's a 16:9 box of beauty. Black and everything, unless you've already hit open, or file open, or alternative, Control O to open up a project. Or, see, you could open up a project, or you could open up a video file from the same area. Isn't that awesome? Now, let's go into here. Now, seeing as you can either just click on a video and hit open, you could double click on a video, you could make a box around the videos you want, you could click on one, and then control click on another one to select it as well. You could hit one, and then shift click on another to get the other one, as well as all the ones in between. But I'm just going to use these 4 for now. So that's all I really need. All these other settings are just fine for you. So, now we've got this. Now you'll notice I shot this in 4x3. Well, we can change that pretty fast. Also on here, you probably want to set this on preview half, because it's pretty fast rendering. If you have a slower computer, go to render half. As you'll notice, the quality just got lower, but it all of a sudden renders a lot faster when you're scrubbing through it. So, it's got its pros and its cons, which kind of makes sense. Nothing is all pros. Anyway, now... As you can see, this program, unlike After Effects, has no problems playing audio. So it's a lot easier to match audio, footage, and all that kind of stuff. You'll also notice the volume is on bottom and video is on top. If you want to have, say, a second video layer, you can go right-click on the layer, insert video track. Alternatively, this section with nothing in it, right-click there, and you can set an audio or video track. If you want to set a new audio track, you can also right-click on an audio track and hit insert audio track, or Control Q. Or for video track, Control Shift Q. Or if you want to duplicate one, select that layer, hit Control D. Well, if you set that up, you could right click and hit duplicate track. But we don't want that. So let's delete track, because we don't need it. Now, seeing as we already set this to 16 by 9, you'll notice we can instantly go into here using this little square button here. Although, if you had noticed, I'm scrolling through here and zooming in. The way you do that is just a simple scroll of the mouse. Try it. It's fun. Now, go into Event Pan Crop. Now you come up with the screen. You can control this. You can move it around however you want. You can do everything. These buttons will be selected by default. Now, if you want, I'll show you what these do. You can also at any time to restore your default settings. You can hit right click and restore. Restoring is awesome. Also, if you wanted to fill this entire area, we can either go to preset 16 by 9, whoa, or you can hit restore and go back to match output aspect. That will instantly match the exact size of the box. Isn't that great? Anyway, this goes about the center. You'll notice here, when I scroll in, which you can easily do by selecting the outside and zooming in or out. As you do that, you will notice it goes about the center. If I unselect this, it will go about the corner. Interesting. Now, if we select that again, lock aspect ratio. This allows us to give us a widescreen effect, or an anti-widescreen effect, whatever that is. Whatever you want to call that, doesn't matter. I don't know how much more I can do this voice for, but whatever. Anyway, also, if you want to move it, you find maybe you just want it to go horizontally instead of moving all around. We've got an option for that too. You see this button here? Click it once. All of a sudden, it only moves horizontally. Control Z to undo. If you want it to move just up and down, click it again. Goes up and down. Control Z to undo. Now, click it once more, and you're back to free move. Isn't that awesome? Now, if you'll notice, you can also zoom in. You can also rotate here by using this outside circle. That's great. Restore. Match output aspect. Zoom in. Undo. Select that. Now zoom in. We'll notice we're here. This program comes with automatic keyframes. So now, say at this point, I wanted to zoom in on my elbow. Now, I can zoom in on my elbow. And seeing as it's automatically keyframed, it will put in all the points in between. So it comes from here and zooms in on my elbow. Now I can show you masking. Masking is like your best friend. For this, we're going to hit Control, and we are going to paste it up here. But first, I'm going to show you a little trick. If you're going to control and paste something, you only need one of these audio tracks, and they're automatically linked. So, right-click on it, Group, Clear. Suddenly, these tracks are no longer linked, whereas these ones, they are linked. Now, copy this. Go to the front. These are your movement keys. You can loop it. You can play from start. You can play from where you are with this selection bar, which is pretty simple to operate. You can go back to the front or very end of your video. You can pause at any time or stop it, which brings it back to the beginning. You'll notice play, stop brings it back. Play, stops it there. Interesting. Anyway, now, copy it. Go up to the video layer above and paste it. Now, we've got the new one. If you want to make another one, you can simply drag it. But we don't need to. Anyway, now we've got two of these. Let's set these back to normal. Zoomed in, full of awesome. Now, I'm going to show you something really cool. First, I'm going to go through the effects. What these effects are, there's a whole lot of them, and some of them are plugins. But plugins aren't by default. You can download them yourself. Trust me, they're all stinking cool. Especially new blue and magic bullet looks. They are incredible. Anyway, let's just go over some quick black and white. Black and white, pretty simple, and you can adjust it with this slider, which is very awesome. But we don't need that. Black restore, not worth its time. Border, interesting. You'll notice there's no border here. That's because it's feathered. Feather is a blur. Now, if I take off the bottom layer by hitting mute, you could also hit solo, which makes it just this layer is visible. Anyway, That is not needed. Borders are for chumps. Real men make custom borders. Anyway, we can also go brightness and contrast. Pretty simple. But no one uses presets. We'll go over how to make presets later. I have no idea how much more I can put up this voice. Broadcast colors, not worth its time. Bump map, this is pretty stinking cool. Now you've got this. Here is your selection of where your light is. And then here are your bump controls. Let's give it that. Now, here, let's go to the beginning. And what's awesome about this, also as you scrub through here, it also scrubs through up here. Very effective. Now, if we go down to here, mask, hit check mark. Now, what a mask is, it is cutting out something. It's like a cookie cutter, or the pen tool, as it is commonly known as. You can use this to move around in your selection. And you can use the pen tool or the anchor creation tool to start drawing around the object. And we will eventually cut him out, which is me, so that's not exactly cool. But we'll do it anyway, because it's cool for you guys. We have to reselect this. Stupid rules. Now, we go down again. We select this again. And we go back to masking it. I'm just gonna go roughly. Insert epic music here, 'cause music is awesome. Now let's go with the arm. Almost done. And there we go. As you'll notice, the effects that were applied to the top layer are only there. Here, we can take this off even. Unfortunately, also, on here, you can also keyframe the masks here. Auto keyframe. Another thing I didn't show you is there are multiple keyframes. If you want to zoom in here, let's turn this mask off. If you want it to zoom in, you can change what kind of keyframes it is. Linear means it's all at the same speed the entire way. And then you've got all these other things: fast, slow, smooth, sharp, hold. Pretty simple. Just so you know. Also, let's get rid of this stupid bump map, because we don't need a bump map. What else are we going to use? Chroma Keyer, that's green screening. We don't have a green screen, but I'll show you the basics of it. Drag drop. If you want to remove, if you want to cancel or bypass any effect at any time, you can uncheck this mark. If you accidentally hit X and you want to get back in, you can hit this little weird thingamajig. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but that's the effects. So click on it. You can bring it back. Now, we're going to select the ground and see if this works. It probably won't. No, it won't. Now you can mess with the thresholds and see just how they work. That's not working very well, is it? But you can see the basics of it. And then you can also add blur. Color balance, color correction, kind of advanced, also very essential. You've got some presets here. Let's go over how to make presets now. We got reset to none. Let's change that. So now we've got this. Now say we want to make it green. We could change the midtones to green. We could change the highlights to blue and the lowlights to yellow. Now it looks kind of weird. Let's give that a little less yellow and a little less green and a little less blue and move it up to the purple a little more, because purple is nice. Yeah. Anyway, now say we want to save that. We want to be able to come back and apply this to so many different effects. So, what we do, we go up to here in presets, select this, delete it. We don't need that anymore. Now we can title it whatever we want. We're just going to call it Green Awesome. And then you hit save. Oh, what's this? It's already on there now. you just saved a preset. Now, we can delete this, and it's back. And you can apply it to any video from now on. If you ever want to delete it, put it into effect. Have it selected, and then hit delete preset, and it's gone. You don't have to worry about it. Now, color correction, more presets. Color curves, these are freaking awesome. These are great for making contrast, and I'll show you how. Sony Vegas isn't the greatest program to make contrast in, but it's pretty simple. Contrast, and you can customize it a lot better. Put this section up a little bit, this section down a little bit, and you get contrast. Depending on the video, you may want to adjust the contrast. This video is pretty bright. Let's crush it. There we go. Let's also crush it down this way a little more, and we have some nice contrast there. Or, there's a preset for increased contrast. But it's better to customize, because customization is cool. Or, we can just make it look like it's at night. Oh my goodness! Or we've got these. Again, not worth their time. They just mess up your footage. Cookie cutter. These are pretty cool. These are like cutting something out. Let's move this over top of this one, so we can see the difference. See that? See that difference? We need to totally match output aspect on that. Now, see that difference? We got the circle in there, and we can customize it. We can make whatever frickin' shape we want. Arrowhead. And just so you can see it, let's add a border. You know what the border's going to be? It's going to be yellow, because yellow is cool. We can increase the size of it and the border. We can increase the feather of the border, because the border's always necessary to have feather. You know what feather is? Still don't? It's that blur that's there. See? Solid. Increase feather, blur. Simple as that. We can also make it rectangle. Again, it auto keyframes. Now, what else should we go over? Defocus. This is Sony Vegas 9 and up. It's kind of interesting. Sort of gives this depth of field view. But it's also a little weird. Didn't really work so well on this footage. Now, if we bring down the radius and the bloom threshold, because threshold makes it look weird, and this curvature, and bring down everything, you will eventually get to a normal video. But it doesn't work so well. As you can see, this video is just too bright. It doesn't work. Deform, that's for people who I have no idea what's wrong with them. That just looks messed up. Fill light. That's kind of useless. Because look, ooh, fill light. We changed a little bit of light and we could strengthen it and crush it. And bias. Bias is evil because it's biased. Then we can add a tint. Tint will be this color, and then softness. We don't need softness. Softness is cool. Again, we don't need it. But whatever. Film effects. This is pretty interesting. It looks kind of weird. We can do this. Now we have so many different effects we can customize. Grain. We can get rid of the grain because we don't like grain. Tint. We don't need tint. Convert to grayscale? No thanks. I want color. Because color like a boss. Seeing as we don't have tint, this doesn't even matter. But if you want, you can tint it. Not that much, because that just makes it white. But again, you can tint it yellow. You could tint it green. But we're not going to tint it. Enable particles. You have all these different types of particles. Dust, hair, flicker, jitter, scratches, jitter. That's movement. That's not a particle. But it's really interesting, this nice effect. The only thing is, it's custom for every single track. Film grain. Nobody cares. Gaussian blur. It's like motion blur. It's like stinking depth of field. You can make it 469, and then keyframe it. Go all the way down to 0 so you get a crisp picture. Now let's watch that in epic slow-mo. In order to make a RAM preview, which goes through once, and then it will be able to run at perfect speed, go Shift B. As you can see, it's running through. If you want to notice how I made this region here, just simply click and drag anywhere. Now we'll play it.
Okay. Okay.
See? It's like a freaking depth of field. We don't need that effect anymore. We're done with it. Light? Glint. Oh my gosh, it's so glinty. Basically sparkles everything that's bright. Because, you know, real men, we like sparkles. Except for some of us. I don't know what's wrong with them. That glow is a little evil because there's a lot of sky. That's not so good. Invert. Don't recommend this, but it looks like this. Pretty messed up. Lens flare. You can customize these in After Effects. You don't need this unless, of course, you don't have After Effects. But lens flare is pretty basic. Then you have all your elements. Standard 13 elements. These elements, and then you can change all the settings. No one cares about lens flare because it looks lame. Unless you have really cool ones with streaks. Anyway, levels. These are bases. You can you can darken the entire video once, or you could brighten the entire video. Notice on, off. No, that's on, that's off. On, off, on, off. You could also increase gamma, or you could decrease gamma, or you could do whatever these presets will tell you to do, or you could customize it. Light rays, these are stinking cool. These are exactly what they sound like. Light rays! Linear blur. These are like motion blur. Add these in all your high action impact videos, and you get so much better effect. Lower the amount. Change the angle. That looks about good. Again, let's lower the amount. Now we've got motion blur. Customized. Magic bullet looks. That's a plugin. We're not going to go over that. Mask generators. That's pretty advanced. We're not going to go over those. Unless, of course, you want to subscribe and wait for the next video. Min and max. These are fun. It's like that, except you can do this. Minimum, that's dark. Maximum, it's bright. You can always do some interesting stuff here. You're going to have to do that. Then keyframe it. And bring it down. So now, our clip. It goes like this. That's good enough. But it's gonna keep going. It didn't have time. Whatever. If you have more RAM on your computer, you get to preview even more. I've only got 3 gigs of RAM, so it's not a big deal. Mirror, no use for it. These are all plugins. More plugins, lots of plugins. Get more plugins because plugins are sweet. Newsprint, no clue why you want this, but it's cool. Pinch punch, this is kind of unprofessional looking, seeing as it only affects the center, not the sides. But it's okay. You can make a cool planet with this. You wonder how you make a planet? Put that. Where's cookie cutter? Circle center. It's a frickin' planet now. Of course, increase the feather, because feather's awesome. Now it's a planet. Of course, planets aren't just all grass, so don't use that kind of video. Pixelate. Small. You want pixelate? Medium. And then pixelate. Large. Interesting effect. If you have one video that's too high quality and one video is not high enough quality, you can pixelate it. Or you could use it as a sensor box if... I don't know why. But you could. Radial blur. It's kind of like light rays. But it's cooler. You think that looks just like light rays? Hit proportional. Leaves out the center. Or this is the center. So it leaves all that out. Strengthen everything but the center. Focuses in on that. So cool. Rays. No one cares, but here it is. Whee! Saturation adjust. Sepia. Sepia. Everyone knows what sepia is. Sepia. However you want to pronounce it. Everyone knows what it is. But no one really wants it. because it's kind of lame. Sharpen, exactly what it sounds like. It attempts to sharpen, but any real video maker knows that doesn't work. It just looks lame. Now these, soft contrast, this is Sony Vegas 9 and up, and it's one of my favorite effects. It's so cool. It's got these great presets, and you can even customize it. Soft moderate contrast, add. Contrast automatic, and it's soft, so even in lower quality videos, it smooths it out so it looks even better. You want heavy contrast? This is for higher quality videos. There you go. You also want to have lots of brightness in that kind of video, because if you're going to have heavy contrast, you want a brighter video, otherwise it's just going to look like crap. Warm vinaigrette. There's that. Vinaigrette, that's that border there, just so you know. Sphere eyes, like pinch and punch, just as useless. Starburst, another Sony Vegas 9 and up. It's again, kind of like all those other kinds of effects. Swirl, exactly what it sounds like. Really cool, because everyone likes a whirlpool. Threshold, this looks so lame. No idea why anyone wants this. It shouldn't even be an effect. Time code, if you want to time how long it took you to do something, do this, and it will time you until you stop it. Really cool. TV simulator. Kind of like that, and then you can customize it. Give it a detail zoom. Let's lower the aperture grill, which is the verticals. Interlacing, those are the horizontal. Let's not move those. Vertical sync, it makes it screw up. So cool. Screwing up on purpose is cool. Line sync. Yeah, there we go. That looks like some sort of messed up dance. But you can do that. And scan phasing, it's that stupid bright thing. Whatever you want to call it. Phosphorus. Obvious. It's the blue. But we don't need that. Unsharp mask and wave. White balance. There's those. White balance. Simple as that. Select white color. Say blue's my white color. Bounce it to that. Say white's my white color. Bounces it to that. Say green's my white color. Simple as that. It's really useful for anyone who screwed up in production. You could fix that in post-production, because post-production is cool. Anyway, what if you're saying, hey Taz, what if I have a clip and I don't want all of the clip? Maybe I said go in the beginning of it. Okay, however you want it to be. Yeah, you say go or something like that. Maybe you want to take that out. Well, I'm going to show you how. It's so simple. You just take the edge and grab it. And it's got snapping already. So if you stretch it, it automatically will go to the end. It'll show this blue thing. Which means it's matched up with all the previous clips. You notice these little divots here? Right there? That means it's looping. If you want to stretch a clip maybe, make it longer. You can do that too. Control and drag it. It's all one clip now. And it's just slower. This is before, this is after. Okay. However you want it to be. There's after. This is before. Faster! Now, you can make it slow-mo or it can go the other way. You can make it faster. Okay. Whoa! So much speed! Now, what if you say, I want to cut it at one point? You can have it set on that part, have your clip selected, and hit S, which is split. Cut your video. Then you can delete it with the delete key. Sorry about that. Now, we can undo that, because we don't want to do that. We'll delete that one. Now, if you want to maybe, say you have unsharp mask negative. It looks like that. And a sepia. Currency. Looks like that. It's kind of lame. Say you want to have the same set of effects on this clip, as well as all of its viewing aspects. You hit Control C with the clip you want selected. Then go to the other clip and hit right click on it, paste event attributes. all of a sudden it has the same attributes. But of course we don't want those effects because those look lame. Hyper lame. Uber lame. But that's how you do it. Simple as that. Now, if you say you are taking a video and you want to take a snapshot and show all your friends on Facebook and Twitter and, I don't know, Daily Booth. You go up to here, save snapshot file. It looks like a save button. Click it, and you can save it wherever you want it to be. Simple as that. Say maybe you don't have a background. Say you've chroma keyed this out, or say, yeah, let's cookie cut it out. Say you cookie cut this out, and you have no idea what else to do. You want a background. Go to media generators, and you've got a whole list here of custom or customizable presets for you. You can even put in text or gradients, which are like a video editor's best friend. We've got gradients, lots of gradients. You want to add in another point? Add in another point, and make this one yellow, black, yellow to white. Simple as that. You want to know another cool thing about gradients? Gradients are like the best thing ever for video makers. Let's go. Add lines black to white. Simple as that. Now this gets into a little bit of advanced stuff, so if you're scared of, awesome advanced stuff in video editing, which you should be prepared for, seeing as that's what you pretty much signed up for with Sony Vegas, you can just quit the video now. But for the rest of you who want to know awesome, let's just set up a quick something here. For all you American guys, let's just make this white. And for everyone else, this is just a popsicle, a rocket ship popsicle. There you go. Red, blue, and white. Those things are so tasty. Anyway, we've got this. Now, we can go to the top here, where it says opacity is 100%. If we click this and drag it down, we bring down the opacity. Let's get rid of the cookie cutter. Now we've got this. Oh my goodness. This button here on all generated media, that's how you change it. Let's get rid of this one. So now we've got this gradient over top. So cool. If we bring back the opacity up, then we go into this button. It says compositing mode. We can change this to overlay. And we've got a crush effect, and it's so cool. Isn't that cool? It's cool, trust me. Try it yourself, it's so cool. The only issue is, you have to have a clip there. But it's okay, because with this effect, you're going to be wanting to add those to everything. So, yes, there's all types of these. It takes a little too long to go over all the compositing modes, but that's probably one of the best, other than Source Alpha, which is your standard one. Multiply mask? No, don't do that one. There's 3D Source Alpha. It's the same thing as Source Alpha. The only thing is, it's in 3D. Maybe if I make another video on it, you'll understand how that works. Anyway, is there anything else left to learn in this video? Not much, except for text. Texts are annoying. Simply go in here. Make your text. Blah! That's all we need. Because that is like a book in some language that I do not know. Whole book, and it's geniusly written, trust me. I would potentially know. Anyway, you can also change the font here, simple, just like in Word. Although, you can go to placement and move it around. Center left, center right, bottom center, or if you want to have a custom one. Let's say we want it here. And it also auto keyframes, so we can move it here now. And it will move there for us. Anyway, let's delete that keyframe because we don't need it. Properties. Say you want, a background. We don't need a background normally, but say you want a background. There's your background color. Do you want your text changed? All of a sudden, it's cyanish, bluish. There's a cyanish. Little lighter. There we go. You can also mess with the tracking, which keeps them together. You can make them a big jumbled mess, or you can make them everywhere. Looks like the alphabet, all over again. except that's not the alphabet. Well, it's got components of the alphabet, but whatever. And then scaling, which is size, of course. Bring this back down to 1, because that's all we need. Effect. Here we can have some cool stuff. We can have an outline in yellow with much greater width. And feather. Feather is cool because it's blur. But it looks kind of like a shadow. We don't want that because we have a shadow option. We can just change the offset. Get rid of the feather. All of a sudden, you can see it better. Just get rid of the outline. Now you can see it really good. See that? That's a feather. Deformation? Don't ever touch these. I will tell you that now. Yet do not ever touch these. Safe zone here? Whatever. Keep these. Because safe zone is just a safe zone. It doesn't really mean anything. Anyway, you got those. You can change the bold. You can change the font. You can change about anything you want. That sounds kind of like a rap, but it's not meant to be a rap. It could be a rap. Maybe someone in the comments section could write a rap and I'll sing it for you. Or not, if you don't want to. Anyway. Now we've got all these. You'll notice on the background, it's got all these checkers. That's the alpha. You want that. That means that there's nothing there, so you can just have a blank background. Anyway, that's about all that there is for Sony Vegas 9, 10, 11, potentially. 11's not out yet. Or, say, 7, 8, whichever one's in the past. All the way into the past, back to Sony Vegas original. The only issue is, as you keep going in higher numbers, you get more compatibility, more power, and everything else. So, until next time, see y'all later. If you want to render, I guess I should quickly say, hit render as up here. And you can change it, go to the big desktop, or wherever you want it, and then you can change all these settings here. These megabytes per second. If you're doing 720, do the 6 megabytes per second preset. Although, it's not automatically on Windows Media Video. I like Windows Media Video. Although, if you're doing really high quality video, go to the 8 megabytes per second, 1080 30p. Or, does this have AVI? AVI is like super high quality. Yes, it does. Video for Windows. You can mess around with these too. But I like Windows Media Video, because it's a lot more compressed. Include audio? That's not on by default, I don't think. Video smoothest, and you always want this at sharpest, otherwise it looks lame. Project, you can render this as whatever you want. Unless you're doing 1080p, keep it on good, because you're fine. Anyway, that's all I have for now. Also, saving. Simple as that. Anyway, that's all I have for now. My name is Taz Olson, signing off. Bye!